Why? There we go. How's that? Yeah, I tested some things, some other audio, and I took my mic off of broadcast. You should be hearing me now, Ken. Everybody, let me do everything again because apparently you didn't hear a damn word I said. Uh, Back to the times. It's now 10 after 2 in the morning in Sydney and Melbourne. For those of you that are not awake there, I am just stupid. 10 after 11 in Perth, 16:09 in Berlin, 3:09 in London, 11:09 here on the East Coast. 10 minutes of me dicking around with no clue. And 8 on the left coast out in Vegas at K Shop, who's not with us on Tuesdays, but that's going to change in less than a month, about 2 weeks actually. Yeah, so when I heard that crackling, it's usually the audio interface for my mic, and it's fixed by quickly unplugging it and plugging it back in. And that's not what fixed it. It was actually the down tempo music track that I was playing at the intro of the show. So I switched to chill, and that's exactly what happened. Everything chilled. But I never turned my mic back on to as far as like broadcasting goes. It was just going to my headphones. So we're back. Great start. Awesome. David Hanna, 747, welcome back. You're becoming a super fan. He's checking in through Instagram. And okay, so I got this other video that somebody sent me or that I found or whatever, and you can see the name of the account is Otumba Yomi Smith. That is not. There we go. All right, Ken, let me know how this sounds. Oh, I got to take these off. Hold on. You're about to hear speakers too, which with my hot mic is going to cause an echo. That's going to be bad. All right, let's see how we go.
Following, and mind you, these are assessments made by professionals who work in the area of mental health. Trump is an impulsive, immature, incompetent person who, when in the position of ultimate power, would easily slide into the role of tyrant. His sociopathic characteristics are undeniable and present a profound threat to democracy. He is profoundly an evil man exhibiting malignant narcissism. And if left unchecked, his pathological narcissism could lead to World War III. I would encourage members of the media who haven't looked at this book to please take a look at it and get a real look into the kind of person that Donald Trump is, if you don't know already from the insanity that comes out of his mouth. To our political leaders, I say Canada cannot engage with him as we do with other normal leaders. He has shown himself to be an enemy to Canada, and we have to treat him as a clear and present danger to our country and to our allies. And to the Canadian media, I say, begin telling the story of the fascist sociopath occupying the White House using that language.
I'm glad to see I'm not the only one that stutters. He's clearly pissed off and excited. But I'm just glad that he's actually calling him out for what Trump really is.
So that Canadians in the world know the very real danger he presents to peace and stability. During World War II, over 45,000 Canadians, sailors, and airmen paid the ultimate price, just threat. The assessments of Trump's personality in the book include the following, and mind you, these are assessments made by professionals who work in the area of mental health. Trump is an impulsive, immature, incompetent person who, when in the position of ultimate power, would easily slide into the role of tyrant. His sociopathic characteristics are undeniable and present a profound threat to democracy. He is profoundly an evil man exhibiting malignant narcissism. And if left unchecked, his pathological narcissism could lead to World War III. I would encourage members of the media who haven't looked at this book to please take a look at it and get a real look into the kind of person that Donald Trump is, if you don't know already from the insanity that comes out of his mouth. To our political leaders, I say Canada cannot engage with him as we do with other normal leaders. He has shown himself to be an enemy to Canada, and we have to treat him as a clear and present danger to our country and to our allies. And to the Canadian media, I say, begin telling the story of the fascist sociopath occupying the White House using that language so that Canadians in the world know the very real danger he presents to peace and stability. During World War II, over 45,000 Canadian soldiers, sailors, and airmen paid the ultimate price to defend Canada from a fascist threat. The assessments of Trump.
So I let that go a second time because I knew that there were audio issues and everything else that I screwed up today. Justin Chuck, the program director at KSHP in Vegas, is checking in. I didn't know that we were with them on Tuesdays already. That we're starting there in 2 weeks on Tuesdays, but I think with the issues from yesterday, that's what Mark might have been saying. But yeah, so we're going to be there anyway. So those of you in Vegas, shout out to you. My name is Jurgs, and I am, as we're saying, the voice that sounds like yours, because apparently, as conservative as I can be, it doesn't mean that conservatives agree with what's happening right now in the Republican Party. And as progressive as I can be, personally, me, that doesn't mean that we have to stand for what this guy's doing on the other side of the aisle. And that's what we do here. That's why the show's called Up the Middle. I come out to you on the left coast with K-Shop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting next month, April 1st, actually. I'll be here on Tuesdays as well. I'm actually 5 days a week. You can get all 10 hours a week, 2 hours per day, starting that week, actually. Tuesdays and Thursdays are only an hour show, but starting that week, we're going to be 2 hours every day. I'm not encouraging you to leave K-Shop or any of the other affiliates that we have that don't broadcast the entire show. But when it's time, jump over to Yergz Radio, YERGZ radio.com, or rainbowradio.gay. Yes, .gay and .lgbt are endings for URLs, and I got both of them for Rainbow Radio. That's starting up later this year. My show's tested on there every day to make sure that it's actually sounding good, and gives me an opportunity to pretend I actually know what I'm doing. All right, so there we go. I don't even know who that guy is, but I'm just, if so many other people can say, well, I saw this on the internet. That guy had flags behind him. He had a microphone. There were cameras taking photos and whatever. It's somebody. I don't care who it is. I care what he said. I've been saying it for 8 years. I know the Trumps. 21 years in the Secret Service. I know the Trumps. I know the Bidens. I know the Obamas, the Clintons, the Bushes. I've protected every president as far back as Gerald Ford. Now, I obviously didn't protect them while they were president, because when Gerald Ford was president, I was 5 years old or less. But we are one of the few countries, I think the only, that protects our formers. You know, once you leave office, like Justin Trudeau right now might have private security, or maybe he's got Canadian Mounties, you know, on a temporary basis until he transitions out, like our vice presidents do. They get it for about 6 months. They get Secret Service for about 6 months after they leave office, and then they're on their own. Where's I going with that? Oh, yeah. So, you know, the political science degree, the history degree, the life experiences, you know, I I've seen, and the job, I've seen things from what we've called a privileged position, in that you probably wouldn't have seen what I saw without being also a Secret Service agent. And so there's some things I'm not going to talk about because of that position. I'm not going to violate the trust that these people, regardless of how good or bad they are, should be able to place in the men and women of the Secret Service. I'm not going to be a Dan Bongino and just blindly mother F people like the Obamas, literally the week after he left the detail and went to Fox News, or the Bushes, or anybody, unless, like this guy has said, to quote the movie of the same title, he presents a clear and present danger. Now, because it's Tuesday in Vegas, and some people listening to KSHP might not know who I am, I'm going to tell a story that some of you have heard already. Radio X is also still new in Australia. You can listen to them at radiox.com.au. And I'm going to throw out K-Shop's URL here in a minute, too. I forget what it is. Oh, it's not. It's pretty easy. KSHP.com is 1400 AM and 1071 FM in Las Vegas. Justin didn't get back to me, so hopefully everything's good there. I didn't check it out yet. I thought it was .fm, that's why I paused on it. And then another one is WZQR down by Naples in Pineland, Florida, on Pine Island. And any newbie, I forgot what story I was going to tell now, too. Damn it. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants today. Apologies. But, I was the side agent for Trump's last inaugural ball in 2017, which we hoped would be his very last inaugural ball. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But as the head Secret Service person at that one location, I have a counterpart from the staff who is in charge of organizing the events, how things are going to go, et cetera, et cetera. And this kid named Luke was my counterpart. Good dude. Uber conservative, which was a clue as to what we were getting ourselves into. Like, he's in his tux for the event with dirty black cowboy boots. He was not giving up those cowboy boots. But anyway, sometimes staffers are tough to deal with because they think they know everything and they're just out of college. Elon Musk and company. That's not new. That's been a usual thing for my whole career. 21 years, 4 months, and 2 weeks. And I've been gone for 3.5 years. So we're pushing easily 25 years. And I know that hasn't changed. I'm telling you all that because we still developed a good working relationship. Ours was the only site that was not invaded by demonstrators. We were the only site. We were the only inaugural ball. We were the only anything that was not penetrated by violent demonstrations. And there's a bunch of factors that I won't go into that allowed us to enjoy that statistic. But Luke and I worked well together. We had to make some changes throughout the course of the development of the security plan. Both of us were new to that location. So when we decided to make some changes, we had to change some things back because, and all I can say is, we thought, oh, that's why. And we worked well together to make that happen. it wasn't a it wasn't a blame game. It wasn't a, and one of the things was my doing. Uh, I tried to make our security plan a little tighter by pulling this one thing, and then we learned something, and we learned, okay, that's why we can't do that. That's all I can say. But point is, I saw Luke later on, sometime within the first fiscal quarter of the first year, within the next 3 months, after one of the crazy Trump things happened, or he implemented something or did whatever. And I run into Luke in a bar, and I'm way behind. I know I got to take a break. I run into Luke in a bar, and I go, dude, what the hell? With whatever it was. Let's say it was the Muslim ban. I think that was much later, but whatever it was. And he says to me, with a straight face, dude, you think that's crazy? Wait till you see us in our second and third term. Us. He's some low-level staffer. He's not in the Oval Office. He's not in the West Wing. He probably hasn't even had a tour of the White House. I've been on 2, I think. At least that one. I don't know. But then there's other stuff I've been on, as an agent, working. So I try to tell people this from that moment on, as low-key as I can without violating that privileged position. Nobody listens. Oh, he's just joking. Oh, that's just Trump being Trump. And some of the things I saw, and I saw some of it in Biden too, as far as the mental capacity. Look, my parents just left this past weekend after about 2.5 weeks of visiting and working their asses off to help repair my house post Hurricane Helene. They're in their early 70s. They're as sharp as what I remember them mentally. No, they can't do as much as what they used to do physically. In fact, I was surprised to see them sleeping in too. I was glad. They deserve it. But my dad especially has always been very much a morning person. Gets up, gets everybody else up because he's got work to do. So I don't know why we got to get up because you got work to do, but okay. Well, now he's sleeping until 9 o'clock. But still very much with it. When you're president of the United States, I love this in debates when candidates are asked, what kind of experience, you don't have enough experience to be president. What do you think makes you qualified? Blah, blah, blah. There is no other job. I don't care what state you're the governor of. There is no other job like the president of the United States. None. Not the prime minister of Canada or the UK. And ironically enough, this is how this is all coming together. The one other position I can think of that might be close is Russia. Has that not occurred to anyone here? And why maybe Trump is so far up Putin's ass? And I don't sugarcoat, gang. For those of you that are still new, And for as conservative as I can be on some certain things, I don't sugarcoat. It's because one of the things that stuck with me is a guy named Brian Lewis. He was the director of officiating back when I was a kid for the National Hockey League. He was a referee. Before that, was the director of development or something like that. He was like the scout that was in charge of the minor league referees and linesmen, and then was promoted to being the director of officiating for the entire league. And he was asked, I think, the Hockey News or the Hockey Digest, one of the rags for covering hockey. In an interview, he was asked, "What impresses you? Is it an official skating? Is it their knowledge of the rule book or the application of it? What is it that makes you impressed about that person?" And his answer was, "Be honest with me." That's it. Be honest with me, because I'm going to be honest with you. Welcome to Up the Middle. And I tried to be honest for the past 8 years. I tried to be honest. I told you this guy was coming. And when he lost in 2020, I said, this isn't over. I just knew this wasn't over, and I wasn't happy about that. I'm fine with Republican presidents. I voted for Bush twice because his opponents, it was more of the traditional presidential election for me, because his opponents were the lesser of, or the greater of two evils. I was not a fan of Bush, but he was better than Al Gore, and heads and shoulders better than John Kerry. In 2008, I voted for Obama because I'd already voted for Hillary, but lost. That's the only one I ever lost, by the way, until Hillary again with Trump. And we all know, actually, the accusations that Russia influenced that election have been rescinded and put back on the table. There was the whole, oh, it didn't happen. Of course, that came out during the Trump administration, the beneficiary of the interference. And then during the Trump administration, towards the end of it, and in the beginning of Biden, the Republican Senate and others admitted that there was influence by Russia. Even though the 2020 election, by Trump's own Department of Homeland Security, was declared, and I quote, I know because I was there, the most secure election in history. 2024, I wonder. There's the accusations about Musk in Pennsylvania and how he's influenced other swing states. You'll notice that where the areas where sudden influences or sudden increases of Trump votes happened immediately after the bomb scares of sorts. Bomb scares that were called in at certain voting stations. So I'm telling you all this because Luke says to me, "You think that's crazy? Wait till you see us in our second and third term." And the way he says "and third term" told me, one, he knows first, if we're doing this legally, there ain't no third term. He's going to term out. And now today, I don't know, I was rushing through, but you already know I broke 2 wine glasses this morning. I slept in, and yeah. But I saw that the GOP is now getting behind J.D. Vance for 2028. Well, bring it. You think the Dems got nobody? He's going to get eaten alive. At least we know why Bill Clinton changed his name. Did you know that? Bill Clinton is not his last name. He was adopted. His biological father was killed in a car accident, and he was very young when his mom remarried and was officially adopted by her second husband, whose last name was Clinton. But that's not his biological father. And one of the biggest, one of the biggest honors in his life is when somebody said, "You look exactly like your dad," referring to the late, I forget what his real name was, still is, his first real name. But JD Vance is not, his last name's not Vance. In fact, his name's not JD. It was James Donald something. I forget what the last name was. And he then changed it to James David. Just changes his name for good measure. And then when he married his wife, who, with all the anti-Indian American things this asshat says, I'm like, dude, are you not going home tonight? Did you forget who you married? But it was right around the time of his marriage to his wife that he changed his last name to Vance. Sportcat in the house. Stay tuned. In about, what do we got? About an hour and 20 minutes. Sportcat's Daily Gazette will be right here on Yerg's Radio and Radio X. I've got to finally take a break. I'm sorry. We'll get plenty in today, and I'll probably run over too. But you're listening to or watching, depending on where you're at, Up the Middle. I'm Yergs. This is the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back right after this. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off. You can scream. You can yell. And you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness. I don't know how long we've been done with that commercial, but it froze on me. And yeah, I had a buddy of mine here looking at my system, and apparently, even though I'm getting 2,000 up and down, it's not. That's it. Oh, well, Ken, that's why you're a super fan, man. Blythe, William Blythe, Blythe, is Clinton's real last name. That is correct. Now, get me that history on J.D. Vance. See if you saw the same thing I did. And maybe it's not even true. Maybe you'll debunk it. Well done. Oh, that's why he's a super fan, ladies and gentlemen. Ken Williams. And he's in, I don't say exactly what and everything, but he's in the healthcare insurance industry. That's who you want managing your medical files. Is this guy right here. But yeah, I crapped out over the commercial, so I don't. Sorry if there was any delay in me getting back. But let's get the music on for background music. I could do some live spots. like that chill. That's good. Don't forget, if you want to be a pen pal, if you're listening somewhere where you maybe can't admit that you're listening, write me, Yergz, Yergz, at sheyergz.com. CHEZYERGZ.com. Write about whatever you want. Just let me know where you're hollering in from. Let me know where you're at. Whether you want to have a vacation at that hotel that's at sheyergz.com. Tell me that you would like to visit from Moscow or Beijing. How much does it cost? And I'll reply back with some sort of answer, consistent with what you're telling me. There we go. J.D. Vance, it was James Donald Bowman. And then went to James David Bowman, and then J.D. Vance. Well done, Ken. Somebody's awake. So yeah, Yergz at sheyergz.com. Hit me up. Let me know where you're at, so we know to keep sending information your way. Sea Ranch Civic Association, Pasco, Florida. Go to mysrca.com. For $40, you get an annual membership to my local civic association. And I'm saying that because I know there's people local to me listening. But even if you're a little bit of a drive, I'm telling you, this civic association, it's not a governing neighborhood. If you're looking to buy in this neighborhood, they're not going to tell you what color to paint your house or anything like that. They're going to let you live your life. It's just a social organization, very social. I just took my parents to our second brand new farmers market. The second monthly farmers market was 2 Sundays ago, and that's growing already. But they do a bunch of other events. In April, they're anticipating the monthly breakfast that they do on the second Saturday of every month. They're expecting that to return. We haven't done that since September of last year, about 2 weeks before Helene hit us. And all kinds of other events. I mean, daily, there's something there for everybody. Go to mysrca.com and register. DNR Studios, we heard about them. Derek and Romaine were the Howard and Robin of the gay community on Sirius XM. I say Howard and Robin because they're male, female. They're really more both co-hosts than a sidekick to the other. And if anybody's, either of them that is somebody else's bitch, it's Derek, and he loves it. But this is a subscription service that they started when Sirius canceled the gay channel on Sirius XM. And now they're at dnrstudios.com. Check them out. I start Monday the 31st is the tentative date as their only political show on DNR Studios. So we're definitely excited for that. And let's do one more. Rumble. We're here from both the left and the right. There's plenty of things about me that are conservative. Oh, I didn't know this. Ken says that Vance changed his name many times. He also took the name James David Hamill. Why? What's he doing? And Vance apparently comes from his grandmother. So we can acknowledge all the different names that he's had, but we can't acknowledge Delaware's and the first trans member to Congress. The GOP keeps referring to her as him until she, I wouldn't say grew a set because she used to have one, but called the chair of the committee that she's on her, and it's a guy. Amy Stahl checking in from Boyertown, our hometown. The daughter of my co-host, Jane Stahl, and super fan. Amy would also make a great pen pal. All right, looks like we got no mail today. Just went speeding by the mailbox. So Rumble, last one, then we'll get back to it. Go to rumble.com. I don't have that up. What is it? Rumble.com/register/Yerg's. I think it's Yerg's Media. Affiliates. Rumble, yeah. Rumble.com/register/Yerg's Media. If you went there, I don't know what they call it, but like on YouTube, you can get like paid portions of YouTube and Spotify and all those. Rumble has the same thing. You also have to do that if you want to be a content creator and use their platform. By doing that, you send us a little bit, and they'll know that somebody who, according to their standards, is more on the left, is actually contributing to their network of folks. Rumble.com/register/Yerg's Media. I like having that music in the background. Oh, Lindsay. I'm looking for an email from Justin Chuck just to see if we're back on at K-Shop in Vegas. And I don't know, maybe that was... But the next thing in my inbox is something from Lindsey Graham. I'm like, dude, everybody knows, right? We know. Just stop trying to be this whole straight guy that you're not. He's married to his chief of staff. He just doesn't say that because his constituents in South Carolina wouldn't like that too much. Oh yeah, we're back. All right, so we're on K-Shop. We got about 14 minutes there. See how we're doing in Radio X. Love this station too. K-Shop and Radio X. Nope, I just refreshed it and didn't need to. Well, just threw them a plug. I know Yuji's not on today. Check on things at ZQR. This is the one in Pineland. Sportcat, here's one for you. They got one coming up soon. Aliens Among Us. He's actually on ZQR too. Yeah, we're live there too. Good. We haven't been, let's try this one more time. America One Radio. I need you guys to go to AmericaOneRadio.com and say, where's Yerg's? Go to their contact page because we're still on the schedule. I don't know what's going on. I've resent them our URL. I don't know what the hell's happening, but I need you to flood them because this is a progressive station and I'm trying to balance things out. And if I lose one like that, it's one thing when you're on a talk station or just on like Radio X is a rock station, but we're on there over middle of the night, and they kind of loosen up with the format a little bit. Sportcat's on there too, actually. He's followed me there as well. But when you're on a conservative station or progressive station or liberal station or whatever you want to call it, that's definitely kind of a moniker or a oh, now I'm getting in. If I'm, yes, very interested. I've just been, Beth Griffin from Griffin Associates. I'm trying to look into buying some terrestrial stations here in Florida to start my network. Girlfriend, you have no idea what the last month has been like for me. The fact that I'm even able to see your emails is impressive. But so I've got 5 minutes left before I'm going to start losing some of these stations. K-Shop's going to be one of them. And I promise you, I'm actually going to get to some more politics in addition to that video that I played of whoever that guy was. I want to crack my back in the worst way, too. What do you guys think about the music in the background? Just while I'm mumbling, not while I'm doing an actual story. Yep, we're time to go through like we do at the end of every hour in the event that we do lose some of these stations like we do. Some of them only cover us for the first hour. So Ken's reminding everybody to tell a friend. Remember to like, share, subscribe, gang. Oh, it's catching on. Wow, look at that. Yeah, yesterday I played the clip of my promo for DNR Studios. And I used their catchphrase at the end of the promo, which is bitches. And Romaine wrote back to me, dude, I loved that last line. That was awesome. Oh, my poor one dog has GI issues, and sometimes he'll just be sitting here and all of a sudden he's gagging. I'll reply to this quick and my post lean house. Yeah, don't forget to tell a friend. In addition to liking, subscribing, and sharing, and start the conversation. And I played that video earlier, and I might do it again. I don't know, but I played that video earlier because I want you to know it's okay to call out Trump for being the lousy leader that he is. I don't know. Wow, some bot is asking me if I'm alive. So Ken's to get back to JD Vance. Hamill, I believe, was his dad's last name. So Bowman was JD's biological father's name. Hamill was his stepfather's last name. Okay. All right, so now we're actually articulating what possible reasons why he could have actually changed his last name. I mean, I know there's like all kinds of like CIA conspiracy theories, but this is actually making a little bit more sense. So where does Vance come from again then? Okay, it comes from his grandmother. And why are we using his grandmother's name now? Did mom and stepdad get divorced and he's no longer a Hamill? Why not go back to Bowman? But now it's Vance. So there we know. Sportcat, there it is. Is this a bot? Not AI bot. Not AI bot computer. Okay. Well, yes, I am alive. We're alive and well. I'm doing a bit of rambling, but we're alive and well. At the end of each hour, I'm going to start this a little early so we can go into a second hour, even though today's only usually 1 hour. Where we would normally be losing a station like K-Shop. I think Radio X is actually covering us for the entire 10 hours, even though Tuesday and Thursday, they would just be getting the playlist that happens when I'm not on. We'll find out. I got some people listening to that. So we'll do the plugs. We'll get back to starting a second hour. I don't know if we'll go a full second hour, but do some plugs. To start the pen pal. And if you want to let me know where you're at without telling me that you're listening, write me, Yergz at shayergz.com, Yergz, Y-E-R-G-Z, at CHEZYERGZ.com. And I'll add that to the list of affiliates so you have a place where you can come back to regularly and get the proper spelling. Because obviously, you don't spell it right, you're screwed. Sea Ranch Civic Association. Go to mysrca.com. Sign up today if you're in Western Pasco, Southern Hernando, Northern Pinellas, or really anywhere. And I'd say the Northern Tampa Bay or Nature Coast. Nature Coast is what is the region of Florida that continues north up the Gulf Coast of the Gulf of Mexico as you head towards the Panhandle. And then once you get through the Nature Coast, you get to the curvy part where the peninsula goes into the Panhandle. That's called the Big Bend. And then you get the Panhandle as you head towards Alabama and Mississippi. Capital Switchboard is 202-224-3121. Call your senators. Call your representatives. Tell them this Doge gotta goes. Doge gotta goes. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. I love that. I'm going to add that to the Capital Switchboard thing. There it is. Doge gotta goes. DNR Studios. We start there in 2 weeks. DNRstudios.com. Check that out. Register. Sign up. Get their app. Have a listen to us there. I mean, if this is all you listen to, I wouldn't say to do that because you're listening to me for free right now. But there are plenty of other really good shows. One of which my ex was on years ago, who was also on Sirius, and they joined Derek and Romaine over on DNRstudios.com. Studio BBB, that's where Jane Stahl manages. That's the art gallery in our hometown of Boyertown. Studio B Art Gallery. Go to studiobbb.org and check that out and use that if you would like to reach out to Jane. You can also do that by going to the Boyertown Area Expression. That's our digital daily newspaper for Boyertown, edited by Jane and a colleague of hers, Leslie Misko. Check out what's happening in Boyertown by going to boyertownareaexpression.town.news. Philip Blackett's going to join me tomorrow for Translating Trump. He's a resident Trump supporter and Trump translator. His socials are at Philip Blackett, Philip with one L, Blackett with two T's. Matt joins me on Fridays for Friday Fights. He's a resident Democrat. He's also the host of the Daily Crypto News. Go to Matt at dailycryptonews.net to write him, or info@deemerforcongress.com. He's joined by Blake Fisher, host of The Homeless Conservative. Blake puts out one or two videos a week He doesn't do anything live yet without, except for like special events like election coverage or debates or something like that. You can write him, Blake, at thehomelessconservative.com. He will not be with us this coming Friday. He's going to be wrapping up his spring break trip across the country, but following week should be with us. You can get us all by writing news, NEWZ, at yergz, YERGZ.com. And for more show notes and information, go to yergz.com or mastiff.media. Up next, in an hour from now, Sportcat will be live with Sportcat's Daily Gazette. You can get that on Yergz Radio, Rainbow Radio, Radio X is where he'll be live. I think he's syndicated to WZQR. I don't think he's live there, but maybe. You can also get him live on video on YouTube at Para or Normal Guys. That's in 1 hour. You need J.D. Vance's book? Would he run out of toilet paper? He prefers a Dodge truck comment. Yeah, so a mutual broadcasting friend of ours, Bobby Dizzle, said that in lieu of the swastika cars, we should call that refrigerator on wheels the Doge Ram. It'd play on words with the Dodge Ram. And I said, yeah, no. That's my one catchphrase. Yeah, no. I even have a t-shirt that says that. To be honest, I just found it at Walmart and grabbed it because that's my catchphrase. But I went into a whole diatribe about how Elon Musk is a Nazi, racist piece of poop. So, Ken checked a little bit more into the Vance name change. I checked a bit more into the Vance name change, but due to him not liking parts of his childhood, allegedly, he would have changed it. And since his grandmother was someone that raised him, I think it's gravitated to his grandmother's last name. Yeah, Ken says it needs to be called the Cyber Brick. Yeah, that one works too. I almost died laughing when I heard somebody call that a refrigerator. That's what it looks like. It looks like a refrigerator on a dolly. I don't know. I don't get why he would approve that. Anyway, it's 12:02. 3:02 a.m. 12:02 a.m. in Perth, Australia, Wednesday. 17:02 in Berlin. 4:02 p.m. in London. 12:02 here in... Oh, I can take Atlanta off that. So I'm no longer at WDJY either. Truth be told, they're the cheapest station to purchase airtime on. They're also the worst. I don't know why you would go from having a player on your website where all a listener has to do is press that button on the website and they're listening to your station. Why would you change that to either them listening terrestrial, which, by the way, their signal, I can stand on my front porch and yell to you and you'll hear me better. They don't have a strong signal. The only reason I was using that station is because of the FM frequency. And now I've got others. I mean, I would have stayed if they were helping me, like K-Shop, like WDJY. Like if we could say, okay, maybe none of us are big time. Let's all work together and become big time. But WDJY was just about themselves. And so we're no longer on that station in Atlanta. What's bumming me out He's at America One Radio, was headquartered in Atlanta and focused in Atlanta. So don't forget, you just don't like the music because you don't like the music. Sportcast's not liking the music. The Muzak. My son would like that. His name is Zach. But yeah, I'm no longer on DJY. I paid for the first half of it's an annual fee, and it wasn't much for the many hours that I was getting. But I had to make the second payment. They let me split it up, and I had to make the second payment, and just too much. I couldn't make it yet. And I'm like, well, do I even want to spend that? Do I want to just write off what I'm going to lose and what should still be 6 months worth of programming? Or just write it off and just get rid of them like my agent has been telling me to do. So, anyway. Ken wants to know, Yergs, have you seen the videos of the cyber truck hunters? They find cyber dumpsters and show videos of other cyber trucks in traffic on Musk and the Orange Menace. I've seen videos of where they try to actually treat it like a truck, and they take it four-wheeling, and it's an absolute disaster. The thing can't get out of its own way. I've always heard that expression. That dude, fat ass, can't get out of his own way. How do you get out of your own way? How can you be in your own way? You like tripping over yourself, or what does that mean? But I like it. So I heard my dad say that when I was a kid. All right, so we are in our second hour. Feeling pretty strong. Like I'm going to be able to do this for real in 2 weeks. I need fresh coffee too. I got to go get groceries after this, so we might be making a Dunkin' stop. I shouldn't do that, but yeah, I don't know what other videos you're talking about though, Ken. So send me some. I got to reply to this email. It's this lady that is selling radio stations. Create a network where one market I can't spell touch. It doesn't look right. Just say connects. I don't know, for some reason I can't spell touch right now. Yeah, that's what I was. Ken say TOUCH, and I was typing that and like that doesn't look right. Did you ever use that as your dictionary, whether it looks right? So Sportcat, are we gonna do a handoff today? Are you gonna join And we're going to chat a little bit here at like if I last till 12:58, 55, something like that, or you just want me to cut it and let you have it when you're ready. Gonna pull up some stories for like Trump news, but also one of the other things to show that I am, showing both sides here. Plenty of Dems are pissed at Chuck Schumer and others who voted for the president's budget. And my home states, my home states where I grew up, Pennsylvania, one of those senators did too. John Fetterman, the hoodie guy. There's shtick and there's inappropriate, and you let it go. You're not at war like Zelensky is. The closest thing you've got to war is, I don't know what's even happening in Pennsylvania, but you get dressed like a senator. I mean, if I was like president, either party, and he came like that to a meeting, I'd throw him out. If Trump can throw out Zelensky, definitely Fat Fetterman can get dressed too. Yeah, so Sportscat's coming to you today and for the next couple of weeks from Knoxville, Tennessee, not from Atlanta. And so if he's unable to join us right away, no, I don't know if you saw this email, Glenn, but if there's like 20 seconds of dead air, then Radio X goes to a default playlist. If you do a sound check and you see that you're not on the air there, message them. And if somebody's up in one of the studios, they do have kind of like a night shift, so they'll fix it. That's happened to me twice this week, or in the past week. So I got some Trump news queued up on Google, but I got one about, the Dems upset with Schumer, but while I was doing that, the first one that came up, I got to do this. With Fetterman. Is it just over the hoodie thing? Or is it because he also voted for So, yeah, overall approval rating for the Democratic Party is also at a low time, at a all-time low. Oh, Fetterman dismayed by Dems dissing touching moment at Trump's speech. I think that's with the 13-year-old kid. Yeah, I know the guy that's the director now. We work together at WFO. I don't know him like, hey, how you doing? It's been a while. I mean, it has, but it's not like we work together. That was it. All right, this is interesting, though. Let's kill the music. You're going to get your wish, Sport Cat. And take a look at this.
And we heard Democrats also.
I cue it up so that it's. Got that hoodie on. Yeah, because why wouldn't you want to dress properly for work?
Democrats in the House really upset about Schumer's move, the progressive base, also a Democratic base. What do you think it says about the Democratic Party?
I'm terrified to know that they're angry or frustrated. Well, yelling on social.
Okay, that's not exactly. Let's just listen to this asshat. I was so for this guy when he first came in. I think that stroke has negatively affected him more than he realizes.
Social media isn't leadership. Okay, I'll be the Democrat that's not going to pander, and I'm going to tell you the truth. And if you think shutting the government is smart, then I thought you're not supposed to get in a war when there's no.
Okay, let me tell you about shutting down the government. I've lost track of the number of times I was a paid employee of the federal government that didn't get a paycheck because these people shut it down because they don't have a goddamn calendar. And they wait till the last minute every time there's some issue with the budget. It's not like we could have talked about this months ago. Or just say, hey, you know what? This war in Ukraine has been occupying us. Let's just all do a continuing resolution for 2 more months, but let's get to the table right away and stop these CRs and put an actual budget together and get to it. Nobody's got the balls to do that, including you, Fetterman. You shave your head and you don't bother to shave your nutsack because it's not worth looking at. That's what's going on here. These people on both sides are kicking the can down the road. We have not had an actual remotely balanced budget since Clinton. And in fact, he was actually in a surplus.
Exit plan. You know, guess what? They're going to realize that the exit ramp is owned by the GOP.
So kiss their ass. They could have actually done something. Yes, if you haven't figured it out yet, I was actually for shutting down the government. I don't know how many times that I was essential and I had to come to work anyway, and the government was shut down. What happened? They eventually figured it out, regardless of how long it took. And I got back pay. I got screwed because I was taxed heavier than if I would have just received my paycheck. But none of us took the day off to go demonstrate in front of the White House, a place where many of us worked anyway. And none of us took the day off to go to Congress and bitch there. We just went about our lives. So instead of shutting down the government and making people get to work who should have been working for the past couple of months, these people agree to things they shouldn't be agreeing to. And now essential programs are actually cut. And the Republicans are getting their way regardless. Instead of showing a set of balls, instead of fighting, instead of doing something strategically intelligent, Schumer and these other pussies just say, because this is less bad, or whatever Schumer tried to word it in his effort to sound intelligent or wise, than a shutdown. No, it's not. Like every other shutdown in our history, the next shutdown is going to end somehow. What these Republicans cut, you're never going to see back. And I know you Republicans listening might want to say how wrong I am. Wait till Elon comes after your Social Security. And then those of you who are taking care of senior parents, or are one yourself, or both, or you've got special needs children. You know, I think of my cousin sitting with her parents in Rehoboth Beach, Florida right now, or excuse me, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware right now. My aunt has Alzheimer's. the early onset of dementia. My uncle I haven't talked to in years because he's an asshole. I don't think most of his family talks to him. And my cousin is special needs. What's she going to do? Go live with her newly single brother who's trying to find another wife that finally actually cleans like he does? No. Somebody's going to have to help take care of her. And now, when Musk gets his way because of douchebags like this guy, you ain't going to have that. It's coming. I was right about Trump all along. Put your ego away and listen to me.
Are going to do the things that Musk and Trump can't do, and that's shutting the government down. We will shut it down for them and can only.
Then why didn't you do it, you moron? You can tell he doesn't know how to answer this question because he's stuttering. And that's not his stroke. That's because he was caught off guard. Maybe if he wasn't wearing a bright white hoodie, they wouldn't have seen him.
Only turn it back on the GOP's term, and they have unlimited time to do whatever they want to the government. So, like I said, they
don't have unlimited time. Oh. This is why we need term limits. So when morons like this guy do get in, at least it's not going to be forever.
Yell and fundraise off of that, but I'll be the only Democrat that's going to tell America the truth about shutting the government down, and that would be a disaster. And I'm daring them to keep pushing.
And do you think Democrats ever actually had leverage in this fight?
What leverage? What leverage do we have? Democrats.
The filibuster that you're too stupid to try to use? Maybe?
Keep showing up at every night fight with a casserole, and they have these cheesy paddles, and then they, pick your fighter cheese ball stuff. Where's your messaging? And if you think now you're tough to shut the government.
So earlier in this same statement, he was saying that social media is not the place for anything like that. Now he's critiquing them for using paddles. How do you want to do it, John? Give us a solution here.
Government down, then how do you get back in? Because millions of Americans are going to be impacted. A lot of them aren't even going to get paid, but
we will get paid. It's just not on schedule. The millions of Americans that are being impacted are the ones that are now losing various social services that, unfortunately, they had to depend on. I don't think things like SSI or other things should be forever. Unemployment, they should be temporary to get you back on your feet. But there are certain people in the world that are disabled to a point they'll never be on their feet, ever. And you cut those programs.
They all get paid. What's the exit ramp? How do we even restart the government? Why?
Well, we've done it how many other times in the past. We've done it during Obama. I don't know if Biden had any shutdowns or not, actually. But we've done it during Obama. We've done it during Bush. And I think we had some during T-Rump 1.0 too. I got to wrap this up because let's listen to the last 5 seconds, see if maybe something intelligent comes out.
Because it's going to be under the terms of Musk and Trump and the GOP.
So what? All right. I just got an email, and I don't know what it's all involving. So, but it's a news alert from CNN, some rare thingy. I don't know. Let me see something here. Where was that? There we go. No, that's not it. trying to open it. Yeah, we go. Just that one. There we go. Awesome. All right. So Chief Justice Roberts, let's see if I can do a little bit better with getting, there we go. Trying to increase the size of the screen. Chief Justice Roberts pushes back on Trump rhetoric against federal judiciary in this, right off the press here, gang, work with me. Supreme Court Justice Chief Justice. Okay, there's a dyslexia kicking in. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts pushed back on President Donald Trump's escalating rhetoric against the federal judiciary on Tuesday in an unusual and brief statement. Quote, "For more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreeing concerning a judicial decision," Roberts said in a statement released by the Supreme Court. "The normal appellate review process exists for that purpose." Earlier, Trump called for the impeachment of U.S. District Judge James Boasberg, who temporarily blocked the Trump administration from using the 1798 Aliens Enemies Act for deportations, and other judges who he has appeared before. Read more. Trump speaks, and it goes to Trump speaks with Putin as U.S. pushes for ceasefire. There we go. Chief Justice Roberts pushes back on Trump rhetoric against federal judiciary in a rare statement. Okay. This judge, like many crooked judges I am forced to appear before, should be impeached, in all capitals, Trump posted on Truth Social, which were there too, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. More context, the Chief Justice and other members of the Supreme Court have largely held their tongue as Trump and his allies have ramped up their attacks on the judiciary. The statement Tuesday was similar to a rebuke the Chief Justice issued in 2018 when he responded to Trump's criticisms by saying that, quote, "We do not have Obama judges or Trump judges, Bush judges or Clinton judges." And that's it. That's out now. Trump's call with Putin is underway, White House official says, and it is going well. How about the one with Zelensky? Why is he not on that call also? Again. All right, let's go back to Schumer. All right, so following this, ever since the vote for continuing the resolution and funding the government passed last week, Democratic Minority Leader Chuck Schumer in the Senate, among others, Baldy was one of them too, get criticized by many, not just the far left, but many Democrats for being pussies. So there's you're seeing 4 different. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this more recent one. This is 4 hours ago. And see what this is like.
All right, let's get you a live look at Capitol Hill. Morning, 7-11 there. And both the House and Senate are in recess, though, so it's a bit quiet. Some House Democrats are using this break for what they're calling a day of action. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said in a statement, this event is meant to, quote, aggressively push back against the diabolical Republican scheme to has faced criticism for his decision to break with the party and vote to advance a continuing resolution to fund the government tour. While his rep isn't saying the move was due to secure confirm the CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian joins us from, I think, to talk more about this. Nicole, good to see you this morning. Senate spending bill, is it truly having an impact on his standing within the party as a leader?
We have continued to see a number of community, despite at the end of last week where we saw quite respect to the spending bill. Of course, Leader Jeffries being one who encouraged his members to oppose that continuing resolution. And a few other Democrats break off to support last week to keep the government funded. Last week, in his defense, though, Leader Schumer did argue that he felt that shutting down the government was a worse option than backing the spending plan, despite Democrats' reticence to do so.
And we heard Democratic Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez criticize Schumer publicly for this. On our screens, we were just looking at some of the Democrats who voted for the spending bill. What are they saying?
Yeah, let me, for those of you on audio, here's the Democrats that voted for it in the Senate. Of course, Baldy was one, John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, Dick Durbin from Illinois, Catherine Cortez Masto from Nevada, Kirsten Gillibrand from New York, Maggie Hassan from New Hampshire, Senator Angus King is an independent, but caucuses with Democrats. Senator Gary Peters from Michigan, Senator Jean Shaheen from New Hampshire, Brian Schatz from Hawaii, and of course, Chucky.
We constantly hear from congressional leaders who say that they don't want to shut down the government. So keep in mind, obviously, they remain very frustrated and concerned about these DOGE cuts that we have seen to various federal agencies. So some of the concern was that if...
Yeah, that's the part that doesn't make sense for real. You're okay with cutting all these different departments. You don't fight back against that. But now all of a sudden, you're also going to continue to just let everything else go. Or you do fight back against it. You get into these various lawsuits that are preventing this, that, and the other thing. But now you're just like, oh, screw it. Just, let's keep the whole thing going. You're not, there's so much hypocrisy. There's so much inconsistency. Nobody's making sense. Pick a platform and go with it.
If you shut down the government, then that's going to hurt, federal workers even more, add insult to injury by not only many of them have already been laid off. Now you're going to furlough a large chunk of the federal workforce. So that didn't necessarily sit well with some members. And also there was concern they could lose the upper hand, if you will, that if the government were to shut down, pretty much then you're kind of turning the keys back over to the White House, back over to the president, who can decide, whether or not they're going to play ball with congressional Democrats and Congress as a whole in terms of, how to reopen the government, whether or not they would recharacterize who's deemed essential, who's not. So it just was going to be a bigger problem in Leader Schumer's view and some of these other Democrats' views to try to shut down the government versus just holding their nose to keep it open in the interim.
Yeah, very, very interesting points there, Nicole. Thank you very much.
I don't know that I want to hear something from Fox News, but not for 6 minutes. This is why this is coming up. I occasionally check out stuff about the Kennedy assassination. I'm way convinced that Lee Harvey Oswald had nothing to do with it as far as being one of the assassins. It's not possible, actually. It's actually physically not possible. But why would we want to know that? I used to be a supporter of this guy. He's the guy that actually got me introduced to K-Shop in Vegas, and now he's being a total dick, and he doesn't return emails, doesn't return calls. He's cooler than everybody else, so screw him. When I go to shortwave, and I'm literally all over the world, and you get your 35 callers. Anyway. What else is there with them being upset with Schumer? Let's go to, I keep forgetting to use these tabs up here, the video, and not just news, but video. Oh, I don't want to listen to this for 12 minutes, though. MSNBC, he did an interview. I might as well just push towards the whole 2 hours and take a look and see what he has here. We'll skip through it if I have to. But here's Chuck Schumer on MSNBC.
Spike in anti-Semitism we're experiencing right now in America began after the worst instance of violence committed against Jewish people since the Holocaust.
Back in 2023, New York Senator Chuck Schumer made a passionate and personal speech from the Senate floor condemning anti-Semitism, and that is the topic of his new book called Anti-Semitism in America, A Warning. In it, he writes, the rise of anti-Semitism is a, quote, 5-alarm fire that threatens American democracy, and Senator Schumer joins us now.
Okay, if you think it's just anti-Semitism, Chuck, you are a blind, ignorant Jew. Gays are getting it. Brown people have been dealing with it. Black people, the same thing. If you think this is just anti-Semitism, then we know who you're really there for. I think we just saw the whole gist of this 12 minutes.
Senator, thank you very much for being here.
Great to be with you all.
Wouldn't want to be looking out your window when I woke up this morning, right? You've got protesters out there. It's been a difficult few days. We're going to get to that. We're also going to get to the book. But I want to talk about what's going on in the Middle East, because overnight, the ceasefire that had held and that you had celebrated between Israel and Hamas has been broken.
Right.
Your reaction to that, and do you think a ceasefire could get back on the table?
Yes.
Could it be reestablished?
They were really close. And this ceasefire, the second round of the ceasefire is important because first it says Hamas, which I believe has been a large cause of the trouble, would disarm and Israel would remove its soldiers from Gaza. So they were close. It fell apart. I don't know the exact details. It happened overnight, but I think our government has to work really hard to bring them back to the table and get those hostages home. And I think it's possible because they were close at one point.
He's cheering. He's cheering everybody on. We got to work really hard. We never heard you say that in your past 50 years. Oh,
Last week, you and none
term limits, please.
other Democrats helped avert a government shutdown by voting for a Republican written bill, which many Democrats.
Okay. I love the wording of that. He helped avert a government shutdown. He also helped Republicans chop up a bunch of things that are going to be needed every day by people that this guy claims to represent.
Have been angered by, and we've seen it described as a civil war, as a train wreck. Many Democrats believe, if you have a government shutdown, that will force President Trump and Republicans to the negotiating table. Why not use your vote to push back and fight?
Because the idea that they would go to the negotiating table is they don't do it. This is a new group. This is not the old group. Let me explain. I knew when I took this vote, there'd be a lot of protests, but I felt I had to do it for the future, not only of the Democratic Party, but the country. Because as bad as that CR bill was, and it was bad, a shutdown is 10 times worse.
No,
Let me give you what happens.
Been blamed on the Democrats.
And you're right, Gail. But can I just explain what?
But you had been saying.
It would have been blamed on the Democrats. Every other shutdown was blamed on Democrats or Republicans. Name one. Do you remember any of them? I don't, and I lost money. I had money that was delayed. They all know how serious that is. They're going to work to resolve it. When you kick the can down the road for another 6 months, nobody's going to give a damn. But in the meantime, Medicaid is going bye-bye. Social Security is next.
Saying you were not going to vote, I think people were upset with you, and people are very upset with you because you had led people to believe that, no, I'm going to vote against
Okay,
it.
well, let me explain why first a shutdown is terrible. People ought to know that. The executive branch, in this case, Musk, Doge, and this horrible guy Vogt, who have no concern for working people, would have had sole power to determine what opens and what closes.
They've got that now because you sit on your ass. And this is why these three, these so-called journalists at CBS Morning News, need to go. Brian Tyler Taylor, BTC, Brian Tyler Cohen was right. Independent media is on the rise. Unfortunately, Trump is in, and he's going to have people like Benny Johnson, would have had people like Danny Boy Bongino.
They determine what is essential. You can't go to court. So on day 2, get rid of SNAP and food for hungry kids. It's not essential. Day 4, get rid of mass transit.
They're getting rid of it now.
Let New York City do it. Not essential. Cut back on Medicaid and health care. Within 2 weeks, everyone would have been howling. Furthermore, it's even worse. It has no off-ramp. Guess who determines when we leave the shutdown? The Republicans. And let's not forget how bad they are. This guy Vogt, probably the most evil man. He's the guy who came up with that Project 2025.
Yes.
Okay, stop saying they. You don't want to be grouped together with the far left people like AOC. You try to bring them into you. Call out like you did partially there. Don't say they. It's not all of the Republicans because some of them are pussies too. But don't support this. It's not just all Republicans. It's MAGA Republicans. They're the rhinos.
Yes.
Yeah, he has a whole playbook of what to shut down. So they had said, one of the Republican senators who knows said to us, you'll be in the shutdown for 6 to 9 months till we totally destroy the federal government. So the shutdown was a much worse alternative. I knew I'd get a lot of flack.
But Senator,
I took some bullets from other people.
And you're still taking bullets, but should you have let people know you're thinking ahead of time? Because really, people thought...
The problem was it came so fast. Hakeem and I had a strategy which was to try and get a bipartisan bill,
Yes.
which meant in the House, the Republicans would have not been able to pass it. Only at the last minute did it happen that they all voted for it. And so Patty Murray tried to get that bipartisan bill on Wednesday. That's why I said we didn't have the votes yet.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled out Wednesday night, and Thursday we had two bad choices. But I assure the public, a shutdown would have been the greatest disaster we have to put the government in the sole hands of the evil, nasty, nihilistic people like Musk and Vogt and Trump.
Yeah,
Would have been
Senator,
the greatest. We would have had half the federal government we have now. So I thought I did the thing a leader should do.
Senator.
Even when people don't see the danger around the curve,
Yeah.
my job was to alert people to it, and I knew I'd get some bullets.
Senator, the leader in question, that is actually what people are debating right now. There are people in your party who don't want you to be a leader in the party anymore. And it's a question of what is this moment and what does it require? I want to ask a question about that moment involving the Venezuelan deportations and the court hearings around it. Put the charges or lack of evidence or whatever against these men aside for now, and let's just talk about the interaction of the Trump administration and the court.
Yes.
They seem to take the position that this court doesn't have jurisdiction over them, and you have Tom Homan saying he doesn't care what the judge thinks. What did Democrats do if and when the Trump administration defies a federal judge?
First of all, we have to have rule of law. People say, well, that's not me. If we get
He keeps talking about rule of law. He doesn't show it there. Let the guy finish his question.
get rid of rule of law, the 248-year tradition in America, this democracy is over, okay? So it's vital to stop.
Okay, first of all, it's not tradition. It is law. But I think we found, even as far back as Andrew Jackson, every court system in our system, every level of court, sorry, I got something in my teeth. Every level of court has some sort of law enforcement arm to enforce their rulings. Local courts have sheriff's departments. State courts have state police and attorneys general. Even federal courts have access to the U.S. Marshal Service. The Supreme Court is literally the only one that doesn't have a law enforcement arm attached to it besides the Supreme Court police, which does nothing but protection at the Supreme Court. There's your problem. Take the marshals totally out of the Justice Department and the executive branch and put them in judiciary. And, maybe they don't have as much as the FBI, but maybe if we get to a point where the FBI and the Marshal Service are literally fighting each other, the people of the United States will wake the hell up.
There are two
How do the
courts.
Democrats do
There
that?
are two courts. One is the court of public opinion. And the public has to if this happens.
The public has to be watching, and nobody's watching CBS Morning News.
They have to make their voices known, Democrats, Republicans, everyone, in the strongest terms, because it's ending our democracy. Now, but we also have the courts. And so far, the lower courts have done a good job. We hope the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court will do the same job. When the lower courts, and I'm very proud that we put in all those judges last year, many of whom are making these decisions, when the lower courts thus far have said to the Trump administration, you must stop, in most cases they have.
But you
But
hear
if
the
they
Trump
don't, that's not my
administration saying
question.
we're not going to
Yeah.
pay attention to the court.
If they don't,
Yeah.
and we go to the Supreme Court and it is defied, democracy is at real risk, and there will have to be extraordinary action taken.
Tony touched on it, Senator.
And that is by the people, by everybody.
But there are people in your own party that are saying, look, it's time for you to go. They no longer trust your leadership. They want somebody else in there. What do you say about that?
Here's what I
In
say.
your own party saying
Yes.
that's to go.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm the best leader for the Senate. We have a lot of leaders. When you don't have a president, there's not one leader of the party. There are lots of them. We have a lot of good people. But I am the best at keep winning Senate seats. I've done it in 2005. Just in 2020, no one thought we'd take back the Senate. Under my leadership, we took it. So we now
you're not
are
going
executing.
anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
We have a great we're moving forward. Hakeem and I have a plan. Let me just say this. There's a real contrast between the parties. The Republican Party now, particularly in office, is the party of rich oligarchs who want to really screw every average American so they can get tax cuts.
That part
for the
I believe
rich.
with.
And we are fighting that every day. So today, we just issued a statement at 8 o'clock that describes it. Hakeem and I, we have a day of action on Medicaid. In every state, in every corner of the country, Democrats are talking about they're going to Medicaid centers. They're going to people who would be deprived and
Senator, people don't have faith in the Democrats.
Well, let me say this.
And those
Look,
average Americans-
and we're going to do this day in, day out on issues. Why are they doing tariffs and raising your cost $2,000? It's beginning to work. Why are they taking away Fannie and Freddie and raising your housing costs dramatically? It's beginning to work. His numbers have come down. If we keep at it every day, relentless fighting and showing how they're hurt.
His numbers are he's talking about Donald Trump. His numbers are coming down because he sucks, not because of you.
Hurting people so badly, Trump's numbers will get much lower. And his both popularity, but also his effectiveness will decline. I believe that strategy will work.
May I hold up the book?
Yes.
Yeah, let's get to the book.
This is why you were here.
Yes.
Because
news that stays news, anti-Semitism.
Yeah, it's coming out at a time where you said you never thought you'd have to write this book, but you never thought anti-Semitism would be as bad as it is.
Yes.
You said for many non-Jewish people, it's alarming, but it's not a real problem and not a priority. And to that you say.
Not true.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jewish people.
First of all, I see it against Jewish people too, and it's there. And I don't mean to sound like you got nothing to worry about. Jews listening, you do. Pull your heads out of your asses too. But I live in a neighborhood that is uber conservative, and I don't care about his book, so we're done with this old guy. I live in a neighborhood that is uber conservative. And so much so, it's MAGA conservative, which is not about conservatism. It's about extreme nationalism. It's about anti-Semitism, but it's also about racism. It's about homophobia, transphobia, any phobia or ism you can think of, that's MAGA. And so for you to come out now as a Jew and say that anti-Semitism is so bad, I haven't read the book and I'm not planning on it, but I'm going to guess that you're not going to really mention racism all that heavily, or homophobia, or any of the others. Again, we have some new listeners, so I'll let you know a little secret if you haven't figured it out yet. I'm gay. And what I've seen, what progress I've seen, we didn't get solely because of the strength of the gay community. I have the right now, unless Trump screws that up too, which he's planning on doing, I have the right now to be just as pissed off and frustrated and disappointed and unhappy with life as my parents do. Meaning that I have the right to get married to another man. It's a marriage joke. My parents love each other. They're fine. Just laugh at it for a minute. I didn't get that because of the riots that were at the bar in New York. I forget. Stonewall. I didn't get that because of Harvey Milk being assassinated in San Francisco. I didn't get that because of, now I'm forgetting his name. I'm trying to think of the young boy that was raped and murdered in Colorado or Wyoming. My ex and I drove his parents to their hotel after the Service Members Legal Defense Network dinner one year. Matthew, brain farting. But I didn't get that because of his death. We got that right because of two straight guys. One black and one crazy. And that's Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Point being, he's not going to end anti-Semitism alone. He's got to do it with the help of non-Jewish allies. That's the only way it's going to happen. You don't have a majority in the Senate, the House, or the White House of Jewish population. You don't have a majority in the population. And of those who are non-Jewish, a huge percentage of that either don't like you in the first place, hence the anti-Semitism, or they don't care. You have got to incorporate those who are not like you. Or this country, what it's about in the first place, mixing bowl and or melting pot, isn't going to happen anyway. Let's see, I think we said we're done with him. And yes, all these links will be in today's show notes. I didn't do any morning motivation or Pierre's pot. I do have people I want to reach out to, shout out, but I just did not get to them today. Don't forget, in about 10 minutes, actually, no, about less than 5 minutes, Sportcat's up next with his Daily Gazette. Yeah, I need to get through it's been taking me longer to do that. I leave myself about 2 minutes to go through the plugs. No, I need longer than that. If you're looking to be a pen pal, or you just need a clandestine way, a secret way to say hello, do so. Let me know where you're listening from so we can keep you in the loop. Yergz, YERGZ, at sheyergz.com. CHEZYERGZ.com. Let me know where you're at and say hi. We'll write you back. If you're in somewhere in the northern Tampa Bay or the Nature Coast, anywhere close to Pasco County, go to mysrca.com. Check it out. See what the Sea Ranch Civic Association is all about. And if so interested, get yourself a membership and join us at the Sea Ranch Civic Association. Go to mysrca.com. The Capitol Switchboard. Call your senators. Call your representatives. Tell them Doge got to goes. 202-224-3121. That's the Capitol Switchboard. 202-224-3121. Derek and Romaine, been gone from SiriusXM. They've got their own studio. They got their own network. It's at dnrstudios.com. Go to dnrstudios.com. Check them out. Check out the other shows. We'll be with them in 2 weeks. The target date is March 31st. Pending, anything that they have to do on the technical side on their end. I think we are all set with everything they've asked for from us, and we're ready to go. That same week, we start with 2-hour shows every day, not just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but we will be Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Also Eastern. Brain fart. dnrstudios.com. Jane Stahl is available, managing Studio B, our art gallery in Pennsylvania, Boyertown, Pennsylvania. You can reach her by going to studiobbb3bs.org. studiobbb.org. You can reach her through that and check out the artwork that's in Studio B in Boyertown. She's also the co-editor of the Boyertown Area Expression. That's our local digital newspaper. You can check out what's happening in Boyertown and can also reach out to her that way by going to BoyertownAreaExpression.town.news. Philip Blackett joins me on Wednesdays for Translating Trump. He's available at Philip Blackett for all the socials. Philip with one L, Blackett with 2 T's, at Philip Blackett. Matt Deemer joins me on Fridays along with Blake Fisher. Matt's the host of the Daily Crypto News. You can learn more about that, dailycryptonews.net. You can reach Matt by writing matt@dailycryptonews.net or info@deemerforcongress.com. Deemer is DIEMER, forcongress.com. Blake Fisher is the homeless conservative. He releases 1 or 2 videos a week. He's not live yet. I've been telling him, if you heard our famous fight from about 3 weeks ago, apparently I have the opinion that he's not, that we're not good enough for him. I've been wanting him to add to Jurg's radio for a while, and he's been balking at it. But you can still reach him by writing him at Blake. Tell him to join Jurg's radio. Tell him to license his stuff to us. Blake at thehomelessconservative.com. He will not be with us this coming Friday. He's still on a nationwide tour with his family. They're doing camping stuff for the past week. But he will be back next Friday. You can get us all by writing news, NEWZ, at jurgs.com, and get show notes and other information by going to jurgs.com and mastiff.media. Up next is Glenn Sportcat Jackson with Sportcat's Daily Gazette. Easiest way to find that is go to YouTube and search at Para or Normal Guys. Phew. All right, that's it. It's coming up on 1 o'clock. I'm going to kill it, and we're going to go to Sportcat. Matthew Shepard, thank you. That was the young man whose parents I had the honor of driving home safely to their hotel. Don't forget to tell a friend. Remember to like, share, subscribe, gang. We're building here, and we need your help doing it. The audience, hang on. I have breaking news. All right, are you going to join me here, or you just want me to cut to you? If you're still there. 1:59:06. That was more than a minute ago. So we'll cut it here. Sportcat's next with breaking news on Sportcat's Daily Gazette. I'll see you again tomorrow.